Okay, here we go. Okay, so welcome. Gonna get a neck ache going like this, back and forth. We'll figure it out somehow. All right, welcome to the biology capstone. How about you folks sit? Why don't you sit over here a little bit so I have to stand as much. Appreciate it. Yamika, welcome. Did you bring Edgar with you? Where's Edgar? Okay. Missing. Action. All right. Sit, please. Lisa and Karina. Hopefully you know each other by now, right? For years. Right. All right. So welcome to the capstone. It's been a long road, and now you're here, close to the deadline, to the exit. But you're taking the first semester instead of the second semester. Any of you planning on graduating in December? Yeah. Oh yes. Oh, okay. All right. So most of you are. I see. All right, no problem. Good. So Capstone is a unique course. Yeah. Capstone is a unique course because it's a review of the entire curriculum, right? So basically, it involves a review of what you've been studying for the past 4 years here or elsewhere. And the idea is that this course also assesses the program. What do we mean by that? We mean that to pass the course, basically, you need to take a test that is standardized online, all right? And it's a heavy-duty test, but everyone has passed it sooner or later so that they can go up for graduation and commencement. And the standardized test, how many of you have ever taken a standardized test? Yeah, most of you have, all right. Basically, it's a test that is taken typically nationwide. It's the same test and students are taking it in different parts of the nation at the same time, within the same time period, within a few months, typically of the time that the test is published. And they're taking it, students, let's say in biology, all right, these are exit tests. They're called major field tests, and the major is biology. So you're exiting the bachelor's. So this is to get an assessment of how much you actually learned in the program, how much stuck with you, all right, as you're going out the door. And so this helps us to assess our program also and see where we need to better the program, the areas we're doing well, and the areas where we're not doing as well, we need to improve. I can tell you that typically the area where we do less well, if generally we subdivide biology into three major areas, which is known as CMB, organismic, and population biology or ecology, right? And CMB means what? Cellular, molecular, and biochemistry. Right? So basically from the cell in, that's the first group. It's all microscopic and so forth, pathways, biochemistry, organelles, the central dogma, all that. Then organismal is precisely organ systems. So there you have basically anatomy and physiology, but stuff that we can begin to see. Tissues, organs, systems, right? Up to the individual of plant, animal, fungus, whatever. Then population biology is 2 or more individuals interacting. And when you have several populations interacting, then you have a community, you add up the non-biotic factors, in other words, the climate and so forth, then you have an ecosystem. Those are the 3 main areas where we subdivide biology. Which one do you think we are weakest in of those 3 areas? Invariably, year after year, every cohort like yourselves comes out in general, overall, weaker in CMB, organismal, or population. Just think of your own, what you got here most. You got the pathways, you got a lot of biochemistry, you got organic, you got anatomy and physiology, you got organismal, but we're weak in the population area. in population biology / ecology, because that was actually Bio 1. Bio 101, remember Bio 110 had some population biology and so forth, and then we moved on to Bio 2 and so forth. Anyway, I'm just saying that generally we know that's the weakest area. Until we get an ecologist in here or a population biologist, none of us are population biologists, we're just winging it. We're in different areas. That's going to be the weaker area. I'm saying this to kind of prepare you because basically the standardized test, the nitty-gritty of the standardized test is that it's 70 questions in 1 hour. So on average, how much time do you have for each question? Just more or less than a minute. 70 questions in 1 hour. 1 hour is 60 minutes. So you got just under 1 minute per question on average. It's about 53, 54 seconds, about 50 seconds, let's say, per question, right? On average. So you go through the whole hour, then you take a break if you want, and then you do it again. Another 70 questions in another hour. Different questions, all in biology, all scrambled. So you get biochemistry question 1, then you get an organismal question, then they go back to biochemistry, then they do population biology, and it's all scrambled. So you're gonna get questions all over the place, all right? Then since I'm on the test, I'll talk about it some more. Other types of questions that come up in the test, sometimes they give you a paragraph or 2 paragraphs with a lot of data, a lot of information, and then they'll ask you several questions on that paragraph, okay? And I can tell you that many of the questions have nothing to do with a load of information that they gave you. So they're giving you excess information, and you have to sift through it and pull out from the paragraph what is relevant. Some questions, typically, I think it's 5 answers. So you know, it's one of those 5 answers is the correct one. Sometimes 2 answers are correct, but one is more correct than the other. So it's a refinement, right? Or sometimes an answer is correct, but it's not answering that question. It's answering a different question. So in other words, the statement is correct, but it's not answering that question, okay? So there's a lot of trick involved here. They're just trying to trick you. That's all they're trying to do is to trick you. And in the meantime, the clock is ticking. So you're under the clock, under the gun. Now, what we do is, there's also math questions. The horrible thing about the math question is to try to get the answer, the exact answer, because they'll give you an answer. They say they give you 5 answers, 5 numbers. The 5 numbers are the same, but the different orders of magnitude. So answer A is 2,500. Answer B is 25. And answer C is 25 million. And answer D is 0.00025. So they're just playing with your mind. What do you need to do? You need to translate the numbers into scientific notation and then deal with 1 through 9 on the integers and then the exponents, which you know, if it's a multiplication, the exponents add. If it's a division, the exponents subtract. If you have a negative exponent, then you talk about a fraction. All right, so you need to know scientific notation, practice scientific notation. Because if you don't do the scientific, that's what they're testing you for. They give you, they'll throw out some numbers and do an operation. And if you start doing that, you can bring a whole blank notebook of pages if you want, and 5 pens and just do the answer by hand, okay? Or even use a calculator if you want. Not gonna work. You have to translate things into scientific notation. Then, in just 3 or 4 numbers, you do the operation very quickly, and you get the order of magnitude where it's at. And that's the correct answer, because the 5 answers were different in order of magnitude. Okay, so that's what they're looking for. They're looking for you to be able to apply the scientific method, to apply scientific notation, to be able to retain, to interpret a graph, to interpret a table, and apply it to answer. All right, so we're looking for application because it's an exit test. All right, all right. So basically, at this standardized test, you get 3 shots. All right, we pay for it, so it's not out of your pocket. The 3 shots. The first one will be in 1 or 2 weeks, so kind of cold turkey. And if that's why I say if you pass that first one, you're done. See you in graduation in May. All right, you're done. Absolutely, I want to see your face again. So if you pass with a 70 percentile or above, 70 percentile is our mark. All right, so if you do at least 70% of all the other hundreds of students that are taking the same test in that cohort, you're done with the course, done. If you don't pass the first time, don't worry, you're gonna get a second shot at midterm. So 8 weeks in, you take the same test. The same test, guys, it's the same test, okay? I'm telling you, I don't think you take it, but everybody told me it was the same test, professor. Okay, so you remember something from the first time, but I'm gonna give you practice in the meantime. If you don't pass the second time around, for the few who may not pass the midterm, you get a third chance at the end of the semester. But you know, at the end of the semester, you have other courses going, you have other finals, etc. So you really want to try to get this thing out of the way, if at all possible. All right. So now, before it gets heavy with the other courses, stuff you're doing, give it priority. Let's see how many can pass the first time around. If not, 8 weeks in, second shot. If not, 16 weeks in, the third shot. Now, what happens in between the weeks? In between the weeks, Campbell. You all have Campbell somehow? Your textbook, right? Well, get one, all right? It doesn't have to be the latest. I think it's the 11th edition or something like that, the latest. It could be 10, 9. It doesn't change that much from year to year. You're looking for the information, the data, all right? Basic principles. Campbell has 55 chapters. And so basically I've taken those 50 chapters and pulled out from the data bank of Campbell questions for each chapter, 5 chapters per week. So it's like jumping on a moving train, it's galloping, right? 5 chapters per week. That quiz is due, I think it's due Friday, midnight. And they'll be open ahead of time so that you can start working on them. My suggestion is work 1 week at a time, but you can do the quizzes, the 5 quizzes, the one quiz with the 5 chapters. This first week we'll do by midnight on Friday, and then we move on to the next 5. So next week would be chapters 6 through 10. If you add all that up in 11 quizzes, we have covered 55 chapters. We have gone through all of Campbell, but it's practice, okay? Now, how do those practice tests work? Because that will give you a score also. And typically they are about 70 questions for 60 minutes. So I'm using the same method that the standardized test is using and giving you same amount of questions, same amount of time, but it's 5 chapters instead of the whole biology. All right, so there you'll be working in increments. And you get points by taking those quizzes. What happens is that, let's say you don't pass the first time around. The second time when you take it at midterm, you do a 67 or a 66, and you're 4 points away from the bar, right? From 70 percentile. That hurts a lot. So if you have been doing well in your quizzes in the weekly Campbell chapters, and you're, say, like a 70% or above on Campbell, I'll pass you. I'll give you the 4 percentiles that you're missing. Okay, so if you're close, if you're in the high 60 percentile by the midterm, but you have been doing well on the weekly quizzes in Campbell, then you pass at the midterm. If not, if you're doing poorly over here at the Campbell, and you still don't pass over here, then you need another 8 weeks of training to pass finals. Okay, so let me stop because I've said a lot in a little time. And if there are any questions or comments or more details I can explain while you're thinking of some things, I can tell you that, yes, please.
Are you going to publish the Canvas course?
Yes, I'll try to do that by tonight. Someone is helping me to upload all of the quizzes, all right? But hopefully I'll have that by tonight so we can start working on it. In the meantime, what you can do, since you have until Friday to take this first 5 quizzes, 5 chapters, is just review Campbell, the first 5 chapters of Campbell, all right? Now, also, you want to review what you don't know. So if you go to any textbook, at the end of each chapter, there's a chapter review. And typically it's 1 page or 2 pages, all right? So start with a chapter review. start with a chapter review and go over it, 1 page, and you'll know most of it. If there's something, and it will refresh your mind, but it's just 1 page instead of reading the 15 pages of the whole text, of the whole chapter. What you don't remember well, from the chapter review, which is essentially a summary, something you don't understand there, you don't remember well, you go into the chapter and read it in greater detail, right? Once you do that work, that study, then flip the chapter review, and on the back will be a self-quiz. Remember the self-quiz? Take the self-quiz, quiz yourself, all right? The answers are in the back in some appendix, or maybe the answers are upside down on the page. Don't cheat, you're only cheating yourself. If you read the answers first, you're not gonna pass, okay? So take the self-quiz, see how you do. And what you're looking for is the wrong ones. You're looking for the stuff that you don't know. So the self-quiz will tell you what you don't know, go into the chapter, review it. Because sometimes you're going through the chapter review, you're going through the summary. Oh yes, I know this. But then when you take the self-quiz, it turns out you didn't know it, but you didn't know it well enough to get the right answer. So keeping in mind that some answers may be similar. Review, so basically, if you haven't learned that yet, basically what this course will do, it will teach you to teach yourself. It will teach you to teach yourself, all right? If you haven't learned that yet, this is the time to do it. This is the last chance to realize that you can actually teach yourself anything you want. If you put enough oomph into it, you can teach yourself anything, because we have a great advantage. We have that machine there that connects to the internet. That's the world. We have the world in our pocket. It's amazing the power that we have, right? And the knowledge is there. And so this course teaches you how to teach yourself, all right? We have great advantage in the access that we have today. Also, you know, in religion, we use BC and AC, before Christ and after Christ, 2,000 years ago, but there's a new BC and AC in our own time that we all lived last year. The year 2020, I don't wish on anyone in the world ever again. It was horrible. It's the first real to you, many of you going to medical and so forth. This was the real first true pandemic that we have in human history. You hear about the Spanish flu, which was actually in Switzerland. It was nothing compared to this one. You know, it didn't go around the whole world. We have close to 8 billion people today in the world. So this is the first true, real pandemic that human history has experienced. And we're here to talk about it, which means that we're the survivors. All right, we're in the 97%. 2 to 3, we've lost 2 to 3% of the world population in 1 year. Last year. All right, millions. And so before COVID and after COVID, we are after COVID, which means that now more than ever, we all have to own our education. This will see, if you were in education, for example, or pedagogy and all that, you will see this year 2020 in the formation of students is going to be a whole disaster. Whoever was studying in the year 2020, you might as well discount it. They learned next to nothing last year. How much did you learn last year compared to the previous years? It was horrible. The Zoom thing, the bombing, I mean, it's just absolutely insane, all right? So now more than ever, we have to make lemonade. We have to get something out of this bitter lemon of the coronavirus. And one thing that we can learn from it is that we have to own our education. I include myself, because the best teacher is a student, and the best student is a teacher. So this will consolidate your belief that you can teach yourself just about anything, and it will. You have to be systematic and methodic about it. You really have to think galloping, but it can be done, all right? And this course will prove it to you. Okay, let me stop again. Questions, comments? Make sense? All right, so far? All right, now, so because for the Canvas quizzes, or 5 quizzes at a time to cover 55 chapters, we only need 11 weeks, and we have 16 weeks, right? Beginning today. I want to leave the week of final out, so now we only have 15 weeks left, right? The 15 weeks, we have a little latitude so that maybe how about we put the first trial in 2 weeks' time. That will give you 2 weeks to prepare for the first time around. Okay, be that you're just hearing about it all. And my suggestion then in these 2 weeks, take Campbell and go through first the table of contents, the big picture, and find the area where you think you are weakest in. Find the area where you think you're weakest in, considering those 3 areas. And generally, all textbooks in biology move that way. They start with the atom, the atomic theory, all right? And they end up with population biology, ecology, and climate change and the disaster that we're making in the ecosystem. So you can see that there's a progression, and there's literally a size progression from the subatomic particles forming the nucleus, which is the basic unit of matter, stable, right? All the way up to the largest interactions that we can possibly find on planet Earth. So far, it's the only planet we know with actual life. What is the largest interaction that we have on planet Earth? The biosphere, and the biosphere is subdivided into biomes, all right? Tropical rainforest, coniferous forest, tundra, remember all that? Right, from bio 2, Gen bio 2. Okay, so the biosphere, which is composed in biomes, basically by continent and so forth, on land, on the ocean, that's the largest thing. So from the smallest to the largest, everything in between, more or less, Campbell moves that way. Any textbook is going to move that way, more or less, right? Because it makes sense structurally. So go through that. Table of contents, choose the unit where you think you're weakest, drill in to the chapters where you're weakest, go to the chapter review, get it done, do the quiz, the self-quiz, etc., move on. So in 2 weeks, do that. We'll regroup. Now we need to find a day and a time where we all have 2 hours and a half, because it'll take about 15, 20 minutes to get settled. And if you want to take a break of 10 minutes more or less in between, you know, we need to carve out 2.5 hours. All right. So, what do you think of any more questions or comments? I can't believe you have absorbed 100% of what I've said. Let's look at, so today is the 23rd. Next Monday is 30. And next Friday is September 3rd. So I usually shoot for Friday afternoons, but it turns out that a number of you are busy on Friday afternoon. So Monday is actually the best this time. I don't know why I didn't show up. Maybe send me an email.
So when will be Monday?
Okay, so let's go through days. Monday afternoon is best.
Yeah.
You have, I think some of you have labs Tuesday and Wednesday, or Thursdays. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday afternoon. So that's out. Yeah. I think Edgar has a class 6 to 10 p.m. On Wednesday. Yeah. So I think sorry?
Yeah, it's in the same class.
Yes, it's okay.
So that goes just Wednesdays then?
Sorry?
It's just Wednesdays? So we could do a Monday, right?
Yeah. Right. So yeah, so far I think Monday, well, that's why I chose today, because it seemed like everyone else. What? Saying something.
And what classroom will we be meeting this one?
Right. No, I prefer up in the lab, because so CCL 203 is a computer science lab upstairs, okay? Because those computers are set up with a little dedicated link to go into educational testing services. So if you want to write something down, write this ETS. Okay, that's so let me write here. I'm just going to send you an email. Look up major field test biology. Okay, that's where I'm going to go now. So, hold on, I'm sending that for a moment. Let's go to there for a moment. Educational Testing Services is known as ETS. It's out of Princeton, New Jersey, and that's their website. And these are the ones who design the biology field test. And they design the TOEFL, they design the GRE. You've heard about GRE, right? See, the GRE is an entrance exam. This is an exit exam. Exit from bachelor, GRE is for graduate record. This is for entry into graduate school, right? But it's a very similar test. So right here, you go to products, you go higher ed, you go to major field tests. I'm recording this, so I'll send you the link to it afterwards. Okay, and then here.
So are you sharing your screen with people on Zoom now?
Oh,
Okay,
I don't know. Thank you very much. Let's find out. No, let's post.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Here, this one. Okay, sorry, maybe I wasn't sharing the screen. Let's try this now. Okay. You got the screen? All right, so let's try this again. Let's go back up here. Let's go guys my way. All right, let me start over. Open window, ETS, space, so it doesn't take you to an LTC thing, which I don't know what it is. Okay. ETS, Educational Testing Services, products. Higher ed, major field tests. Enter. And then Not even here. For a place where it has some sample questions even. Here we go, okay. So discipline. So you see where I went. Let me go back for a moment. Right. All right, so here you are in the major field test page. Scroll down to the bottom left and about the test down here. Enter. It's a lot of clicking these days. And then scroll back and scroll down. Here, disciplines. And you're looking for STEM, biology. Enter. Okay, test description. This describes more or less what I told you. They may divide it into 4 parts. Here we go. Test outline. So these are the areas: cell, molecular, organismal, population, and then analytical skills. You see the sections here. Okay, so you can read this. This is about the substance and the percentage for each one. The percentage there, all right? And let's go back. There's another first page. No. Here. Here. Test, sample test. This gives you a few questions, so you get the flavor. All right? So you can look at these, do them, see how you do. So there's a graph, paragraph associated with the graph, and then 1, 2, 3, I don't know how many questions are associated with the graph. And Alaska, these predator prey. All right. So it looks like it's just one question associated with the graph. Sometimes you have 2 or 3 questions associated with the graph and the paragraph. Okay. Let's see if they have one on math. Okay, here's a table. The answer key, so you see how you did. You got 15 questions. Don't look at the answers, please. Don't look at the answers. Do the questions, test yourself, see how you do. It's a sampler, all right? It's a little sampler, but also if you have 15 answers, 15 questions, try to do it in 10 minutes. See how you do. You got 45 seconds per question, more or less, no? 45 seconds. So try to do it in 10 minutes. Time yourself. All right. So see how you do. Okay. Do it the first time around. Time yourself because you're on the rigor. Otherwise, you already know the answer. If you do it slack, you take 10 minutes for each question. You know, if you give me 3 hours for each question, I'll answer the question in 3 hours. But you don't have 3 hours. Okay. It's the clock thing. So they want you to be galloping. All right, so this gives you a flavor of it. That's the website, okay? What else can I tell you about this guy? Oh yes, I was looking for something from Edgar to see, but he did answer, yeah, he told me yes. Example. Oh, he told me he was. I got it. That's David. Well, I'll send you this recording anyway, so I'll send it to Edgar.
So we have the first quiz due on Friday. Of the first 5 chapters.
Right, the first 5 chapters would be this Friday to stay on the ball, knowing that we have 11 weeks for it actually, but yes, let's do that. Let's do that. So I like to have it front-ended and have extra time at the end rather than delaying the stuff. Okay, so I'll have that posted between today and tomorrow for the first 5 chapters, and it will be due. How about we put it for Sunday midnight? I'll give you the weekend also. Okay. All right. Sunday midnight will be the first one, and then forward will be every Friday.
Wait, so it'll open Friday or?
No, I'll open it as soon as I can decipher what I'm doing in Canvas and post it. As soon as I can post the exam.
And then the continuing weeks will open Monday, close Friday.
Yeah, I'll start opening them right away. I'll open them as soon as I can get to them in the next couple of days. So you'll have week 7 open within a week or so, but it will be due at the end of week 7.
So we can.
So you can go ahead.
Yeah, do it when you're ready.
Yes, okay. Do it when you're ready. In other words, you work at your own pace, but pace
Yeah,
yourself
slow, yeah.
because it's a marathon. You know, it's not a sprint. So you gotta save some ATPs for for the following minutes. All right, so we're looking at September 6th. Yes.
Right. Same time?
For the first one. Yeah, in principle, 4 will take us to 6:30 more or less.
I think we're
That works.
anyone can.
Yeah.
4:30.
4:30 better than 4?
No, I'm asking. That's what you guys are saying. I'm good anytime after.
Yeah, I'll do that.
After 3, you're good? Okay, let's put 4. Some people may be traveling from far. So this would be. All right. Okay, so it's going to be recorded anyway, so you can review the recording.
So it's 2 tests of 70 questions.
Yes.
So 140 questions.
Yes. It's a total of 140, subdivided into 2 parts of 1 hour each. So after the first hour, you can pause. The thing will pause for you, and you have the option either taking a break, quick break, you know, bathroom, eating something, whatever, relax, go outside, and then another hour straight through. At the end of the second hour, they'll ask you a few questions about for their thing. They'll ask you some technical questions for their own updating, and then they'll post the answer for you. They'll post and they'll give you a general percentile overall, and then they'll give you 4 subcategories of percentiles. All right, and the 4 categories will more or less match the CMD, organismal, genetic, and I think they have it something around genetic and evolution or something like that. Okay.
Oh, I think September 6th is Labor Day.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Right. Exactly. There's always a clincher. So now, listen, I'm free September 6th. If you want to do it September 6th, unless you have plans and stuff, it's going to interfere, it's going to be messy.
I don't care.
I think I do. My birthday's September 3rd.
Oh, wow. So weekend. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
But I can do it Tuesday if not anyone else.
Right, but Tuesday, I think someone, all right, let's ask around. So how about September 7th? You have classes in the afternoon? Tuesday afternoon? Tuesday afternoon?
Yeah.
Okay, let me check the ladies here.
So there's Zoom? The one on the right? Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I think you have to stop sharing.
I have it minimized.
Oh, that, yeah.
All right. Ladies, you're following the conversation for the 2 weeks. Okay, go ahead and unmute. Do I have you muted? Or you can unmute, yes?
No, I was muted. Tuesday afternoon is good for me.
All right. Tuesday afternoon, Lisa. Okay. All right, so we just need Edgar's comment here. Yes. Let's see if I can raise him for a moment. Call Edgar Delgado. From 1 point in the attention. I think I have it. Yeah, no, I have it too, but it's a question of the signal. Weak.
Calling at 2008
Looks so far with one little dot. Okay. Yeah, if you don't have camera, you can also ask around the professors.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. 7.
Okay, well, I hate writing text, my fingers are not that little. Maybe 3 September. What is it? 7. 4. Okay, let's see if the answers while we continue talking. So we can shoot tentatively for September 7, all right? So that gives you 15 days more or less to your studying. Okay. A few more things about the strategy. We can talk a little bit about strategy. Again, stop me if you have a question or comment. Strategy on these tests. So what do you have? You have a question and 5 answers. You know that one of them is the most correct answer. Now, the test is timed, so you have to budget your time. And you can tag a question and then go back to it. Not answer, but you can go back on the test. If you never answer the question, you get a 0 for that answer, all right? Which is wasted. There's nothing lower than a 0 score. So the worst case scenario, you want to have all 70 questions answered one way or another, even if at the end you just guess it, using the same letter for the ones that you have no clue. Because at least if you guess, what's your chance?
1 out of 5.
Exactly, 1 out of 5, which is 20%. You have a 20% chance of getting. Better than if you don't answer it, the 0% of getting it right. Okay, so at least flip the coin with 5 sides, you're gonna get one of those sides. So that's gonna be your third passage, okay? This is a strategy that I recommend. You know, you got 60 minutes and you get 70 questions in front of you. So you breathe and then you start going through it and you pace yourself. The questions that you know well, answer right away, okay? Answer and move on. Never go back to it. Never change the question. Never change an answer. Never ever change an answer, because when we change an answer, we're second guessing ourselves, and it has been proven statistically that when we change it to the wrong answer. That our first intuition was really the correct one. And then when we look at it again, we got second doubts and we mess it up. It's a statistical thing, but we're going on probability. So once you answer a question, drop it. Don't ever visit that question again. All right, it's done. If you're not sure, flag it or leave it blank. So you do your first passage. And because you have answered the questions that you know well, it has taken you less than 50 seconds per question. So you have gained time. Now you're ahead of the clock. And that's the mentality. You're actually ahead of the game once you have done that first passage, because you have answered all the questions that you know well. You have to know something, right? Hopefully it will be the majority of the questions. I don't know, 50, 60 of the questions out of the 70 you have been able to eliminate. That would be super stellar, because you have done those and you're ahead of the game because you knew the answer, you were certain, you know, good chance that that's the correct answer. Now you have extra time. So now you can devote more than 1 minute per question, more than 55 seconds per question, okay? So you go back to the questions that you're not sure of. What are you trying to do? You're trying to, it's a process of elimination. You have 5 answers in front of you, but maybe one answer is totally wacky. So forget about it. Now you have it down to 4, all right? The second one doesn't really sound right. So now you're down to 3 possible answers. So it's a process of elimination. It's going to take you a little more thinking. You have to go back to the question and turn it different ways. It may be a paragraph that has several questions or a graph, all right? So you will devote a little more time. But leave yourself, especially if there are questions that you have no answer, they're coming out of Mars, they're written in Russian, you really have no clue what they're asking or what the answers are, all right? Leave yourself a few minutes for those questions, which hopefully are very few. 5, 10, you know, but very few questions that you have no clue. And now you're gonna go back in about 5 minutes and you're just gonna say C for each one of, just choose one letter. I don't care what letter it is, and that same letter, because you have no clue, so you're just going on the 20%. Okay, so that's strategy. That's strategy that generally works for these standardized tests. The paragraphs, they have stumbling blocks. One of the stumbling blocks is going to be the paragraph, because they're going to throw a lot of information at you, a lot of detail, and I can tell you most of that information is not relevant to the one question that they're asking. Okay, but they'll throw a lot of data at you. What they're trying to see is how you handle data, how you process it, how you put it in your mind's pocket, you know, how you parse the data informatively, significantly to answer the question. Another strategy, you have 5 answers. Sometimes the answer is a single word or 2 words, right? Especially for the short questions and answers like that, you can just see them visually. You know, it's a short question and short answers. Start from the bottom up. Read answer E first and go up. And then at the end, you read the question. You have already read the 5 answers. You know it's one of those 5. So when you get to the question, you already have read the answer. Okay, that works especially for the short ones, because you have already read the answer. And when you get to the question, boom, it's D. that takes you less than 55 seconds. All right, so what you want to do, you want to gain time on the clock. You want to gain that time on the clock to have for the questions that you're not sure of. So those are strategies. And you can do that practice with the quizzes that I give you on a weekly basis. You can do that and test and see how it goes. Okay? What else can I tell you about this?
I have a question about the math part. When you say there's going to be math, you mean calculus?
No, it's arithmetic. It's scientific notation, which is addition and subtraction of, of exponents. All right. So they'll say 3,500 moles were living in Ile Royale in the middle of Lake Superior. Okay, and then 3 years later, a pack of a dozen wolves migrated into Ile Royale, and then 6 months into their migration, that pack of wolves, it was a dozen wolves, subdivided into 8 wolves on the north and 4 wolves on the south. All right, and each wolf takes down 1 moose every 3 weeks. So they're throwing numbers at you like that, And at the end of the day, they'll ask you, what is the ratio of moose per wolf? And all you need there is the 25,000 and what? And the 12. All right? But to convert that into a ratio, then you turn it into a scientific notation and you deal with the single digit from 1 to 9 with some decimal, and then the exponent. That's the thing. Okay, so they'll put a lot of data that is irrelevant. That's what they'll do. Okay. Anything else?
All the questions are worth the same point, right?
Yes, all the questions are worth the same point.
So each question is worth 0.71 points. So we need at least 100 of them, right? 71.
Yes, but okay, good question, because it's a percentile and not a percentage. Okay.
So the percentile of the class.
Exactly. The percentile is per cohort. So in all the hundreds of biology students who are taking this particular test that you're taking through the nation, in the next few months, that forms a cohort. And let's say that the brightest student there, or that the student that got the highest score got 95% of the questions, right? Correct? That becomes 100 percentile. And everyone else is under that. So it's not linear, really. It's not linear, it's a curve.
Like a bell curve.
It could be normalized, but sometimes it's skewed, depending if you're competing with a lot of bright students or competing with a lot of dummies. Okay, so that can make it skewed. But we can say if the test is representative enough and the population is diverse enough, it will be normalized and it will be a bell shape.
So we're gonna, for example, once we finish the exam, they're gonna give you the invitation, but we still have to wait for the other.
No, they will give you, because it's cumulative. They're already accumulating data. All right. In other words, they have done their testing a lot already to validate this test. And once they put it on the market, it's already validated, it's already standardized. That's what it means statistically, that it's standardized. All right. So when you take it and you get that percentile, then that's your percentile. And if that percentile is 70 or above, we're done. Okay. So just pray that all the other students are dummies and you're the brightest ones and you'll be driving the curve. Well, really, you're competing with many other universities. You can even go online and research, see the hundreds of universities that use the system. So really, I think it's pretty normalized, because it's a big variety of some state universities, some private colleges, et cetera, et cetera. And Campbell is a pretty standard textbook also. Okay, that's all that I can come up with for now. You have already enough to get started, all right? If you have any questions or comments, you can call me. I'll put you, when you have my email, phone, you can call me anytime, text me. Don't expect, you text me a letter, I'm not going to answer a text letter, okay? I put 3 or 4 words, read your email. On the email, I can write some more stuff.
So when is the next time we meet then? September 7th?
Yeah, for the test, right? The first one. And unless there's a change, I will try to schedule that upstairs in the computer lab, and I will send an email confirming this in the next couple of days or so. All right, to confirm that we'll be up in the computer lab, up the stairs to the left. The computer labs is the 2 or 3. We'll be there by 4. Give yourself 2.5 hours. You can bring brown paper and also a pen. I said computer, but no, we cannot use a computer. You can use a calculator then. No. They really want you to test the scientific notation. So don't use a calculator. No, not allowed. I misspoke. All right. Okay. Good. Yeah. Well, thank you very much. You're very attentive. You absorbed everything, so I think you're going to do very good here. Just stay on track and let me know if I can be of any help, right?
Dr. Chaffee.
Okay, all the best. See you.
I do have a question.
Yeah,
I couldn't hear very well what time we're meeting on Tuesday for the test.
Sorry, 4 p.m.
4 p.m.
Right?
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
My pleasure. All the best.
Have a great day, Dr. Chaffee.
You too. Bye. See you. Okay. Oh, stop sharing. Oh, take the percent. Good. Econ is good.